This is my second trip to Washington, D.C. in a week. I came here last week and I read Senator Nancy Schaefer's findings on the Gestapo efforts of CPS, known as Child Protective Services. Most of you walking around here who can hear me but are saying, oh, that's just a bunch of malarkey. Let me tell you something. Senator Nancy Schaefer took the time to investigate corruption within Child Protective Services and our family courts, and they violate all of your constitutional rights right along with your civil rights. Now, most of you who aren't parents yet, you haven't had the opportunity, but maybe someone in your family has. And if they have, then they need your support so that they can bring back family unity into what our forefathers intended it to be. Senator Nancy Schaefer's findings were that CPS and family courts violate every right you have as a parent. I step up to home plate and I come to D.C. to make awareness and to tell my Congress, not my child, you don't. 6.4% per 100,000 children who are placed within juvenile court systems end up in CPS. Upon ending up in CPS, they face the crimes of sexual violation, physical abuse, maltreatment, undereducation, and sometimes the end result is death. One case I pride myself on is a child I searched for named Marcus Fiesel. This child, who should still be alive today celebrating his 5th birthday, was left in a closet, duct taped, for 3 solid days in 100-degree weather. And if you're hearing me now, which I know you are out there, this child died. Now, some of the people that are here today are from Fathers for Justice. They're fathers who our family courts have violated their rights. And if you get a chance to speak to one of these men, you'll find out that you might end up in the same boat one day. They're denied the access to their children for visitation, and they've done nothing wrong. They face the same thing that CPS does to other families, false allegations. They seek justice so that they can be fathers. Our court system says pay child support, yet they'll take away your driver's license. That'll cost you your job. Now, how fair is that? If you can't support your own child, it leaves you in what they call debtor's imprisonment, because you end up going to prison because you now have no driver's license and you now have no job. The fathers that I have met throughout the last year while traveling across this country are dedicated to their children. They love their children. They want nothing more than to be dad. They see false allegations of domestic violence that they've not even done. They don't get to prove their side of it in court. They pay astronomical child support and are barely able to afford living in their own homes. Yet they can join together so that people know these fathers are afflicted. We have mothers out there who are facing the same thing. Grandparents are losing their grandchildren, and they cry every day over it. These grandchildren lose what their lineage is because someone else has stepped in through our court system and said, I want to buy that child. And when I say buy that child, you betcha that's what they do. They get incentives to become foster parents. A regular family will get $500 to live on from our government through the welfare system. But a foster parent will get $1,500. If you think that you won't become a part of this statistic, then I tell you, go back to your hometown where you're touring from, ask for the statistical numbers. 1.5% per 100,000 children that remain in their homes and not entrusted to our juvenile systems They face the same crimes I've named as the 6.4% per 100,000. Except one thing is, they don't lose their blood lineage. Yes, 1.5% is a lot, and we need to change that. But 6.4% is way too many for our government to allow. $100,000 incentive, $15,000 incentive to a judge who takes away a child per child that they take makes them astronomically rich. A judge will tell you you will get a public defender. I'll tell you, they're a public pretender. Mr. Obama last week to make reform. He said where entities no longer work for we the people, he would either reform or get rid of those entities during his inauguration. And once again, I'm going to challenge you, President Obama, because I know you're going to hear this, and I know you're going to see it. Be a man of your word. Make the change where change is needed, and stop letting families' lifelines be sold. Abraham Lincoln didn't intend for it, and if you call him your mentor, you'll stop the enslavement and the oppression of the United States people, its children, and its bloodlines being lost. I want to say to those people out there that can hear my voice, because I know you can hear me roar, I'm not a whisper anymore. When you file a domestic charge against your spouse and you think you're protecting that child by going into a domestic violence center, CPS is going to reach in and take them from you because now they're destitute. Now you're destitute. You don't have CPS permanently saying, we won't take your children because you left a situation. You hardly ever find a man shelter for domestic violence. But I've stood up for men, and I've gotten men protection orders from those who abuse them. I don't take lightly to my system failing where it should be protecting. I don't take lightly to my United States senators such as Sherrod Brown trying to pass the buck. Sherrod, you better get off the pot, buddy. You better put that wig on right, stick that corncob pipe in your mouth, pull your britches up, after you congregate with the rest of them that know what the hell's going on out here in our governmental problem. Be honest about the economic system. You want to talk about Medicare? You want to cut out Medicare? Start cutting out foster parents who are social workers, double dipping into the program. They're breaking our Social Security system. That sits in your lap, Sherrod Brown, and any other United States senator. And I don't give a flying wash if you like me or not when I confront you on it. I told you I was coming to D.C., and you ran back to Ohio. I intend to stand my ground wherever you're at, brother. When CPS affects you, as they've affected others here, or the system affects you with closed courtrooms when it should be open courtrooms, and they practice their propaganda for improper agendas, they need accountable. They need prosecuted, and not under federal law. We need a federal congressional hearing, Sherrod Brown, Congressman Zach Space, Governor Ted Strickland, and Obama. We're tired of you playing with us. We're tired of you jerking our children around in front of us like a bunch of carrots, like we're some kind of jackass, because we're not. You know, Obama, if you can hear us, it's time for change. Senator Sherrod Brown, Congressman Zach Space, Governor Ted Strickland, and the rest of our United States government officials that we elect, you work for we the people, and we the people are tired of being destitute. We don't want our children hung out there anymore. We want you to give us the reform that we're due. We want you to keep your promises. Get rid of the entities that no longer work. Before you start fixing Medicare, you got to fix CPS. You got to fix family courts. You got to make things better for the next generation.